Welcome to lesson 3 of our paid video course called Yijing Leadership and Management. In our video 2, we saw that when you do not know Yijing, you'll be easily scammed. And today's scammers are using very sophisticated tools like AI, whereby you can't even tell whether the daughter that's in front of you is real or fake. And people will say, I want to learn Yijing. I want to learn Yijing. Of course, you want to learn Yijing. You better be, because all the famous people, they learn Yijing and they become very, very successful. In this lesson 3, we're going to look at who are the founders of Yijing and how do they come up with the symbols of yin and yang. So just now we said that if you know Yijing, you become one of the famous people like Confucius, who learned Yijing at the age of 50 all the way until 72 when he passed away. We all know Confucius is one of the biggest contributors to Yijing. This war strategist called Zhuge Liang, he was also the prime minister of the Shu Han Empire for 11 years. During the period, we call it the Three Kingdoms period, he used Yijing in warfare. And Lao Tzu, he wrote the book Dao De Jing, and our Sun Tzu, who wrote the book Sun Tzu Art of War, they all use Yijing. In fact, I've been teaching the Sun Tzu Art of War since 2009, and I often quote that Sun Tzu Art of War is nothing without Yijing. And Lao Tzu Dao De Jing is something that most will find it difficult. Our new course on Dao De Jing, and it's called the Way to Riches, right? Way to Riches is Dao De Jing. Of course, they use a lot of Yijing concepts, right? And in Japan, the pre-World War I, World War II, pre-modern Japan, they use a lot of samurais and they're all using Yijing. And the most famous must be this German mathematician who created the binary system 1 and 0 using Yijing, Yang, and Yin. And John Cage used it to compose music. And our Mao Zedong, he created the new China using Yijing principles, whereby he can defeat Japan and also win the war over his rivals as well, right? Mr. Zheng Siqiang, he's a Taiwanese professor, got very famous in China. He passed away in the year 2018. He is one of my teachers for Yijing. However, understand that Mr. Zheng Siqiang, although he's very famous in China and maybe in Singapore, but he is being looked down upon in his home place, Taiwan. You realize that when you are a famous singer in Singapore, likely you can't make it anywhere else in the world. However, when you're not famous in Singapore, nobody cares about you. You'll be famous outside Singapore. After that, you'll be famous in Singapore. Looking at the examples of Jie Lin and Stephanie Sun. You realize that when you are a leader in the workplace, at home, you're just a nobody. When you go out with your classmates, which you know them for 30, 40 years, you realize that they don't seem to appreciate what you do. In fact, you find it harder to sell to people that you know than to sell to strangers. And people say, why is it so? The people that know me for long, they should be able to appreciate me. Ladies and gentlemen, Yijing said that this world made up of the subjective and objective world. The subjective world always look at you in a subjective manner. If they know you for long, likely they will not think highly of you. They will look down on you because they know you for long. If they don't know you like a stranger, you can sell to a stranger much more easier. These are all explained in Yijing. That's why when you know Yijing, you will not be unhappy. You'll be at peace with yourself because you know people that know you, that do not respect you, do not appreciate you. That's very normal. That's called natural laws of the universe, right? So the first creator Yijing was this gentleman called Fu Si, and he lived 7,000 years ago. And he's one of the heavenly kings. He created the yin and yang, the Taiji diagram, and also the Ba Gua, the 8 trigrams. This Ji Chang, his name is Chang, surname is Ji. He was later known as the King Wen of the Zhou dynasty. He was imprisoned by the Shang King, and inside the prison for 7 years, he rearranged the Ba Gua and created his own version of the Ba Gua. He also expanded the 8 trigrams into 64 hexagrams. And also write some explanation commentaries to it. So ladies and gentlemen, if you look at Yijing, he's the person that actually gave us this hexagram, hexagram of 6-9 diagram. And Confucius, we talked about it many times, he learned Yijing at the age of 50 and lived until 72. And he said that his biggest regret in life is not to learn Yijing when he was young. So ladies and gentlemen, if you are below 50, you are better than Confucius. So I learned Yijing very long, but I didn't really get into serious studies of it. When I finally seriously studied it, I was already more than 50 years old. This year I'm 60, 61. But I think it is still worthwhile for us to learn because it's better late than never. So Confucius, he wrote the 10 wings of text of Yijing. He's known as the Yijing Guru. You know, Yijing is not just all about diagrams. Yijing also have many texts, many words. There are so-called 10 such books, and we call it the 10 wings of text. And they're mostly written by Confucius and his disciples. And we all know Tao Te Ching, right? Tao Te Ching is created by Lao Tzu, and Te means virtues, and it's the same sound as get. So people ask me, what is this book Tao Te Ching about? Basically, it's a way to riches. Way to riches is Tao Te Ching. I'm coming up with a new book called Way to Riches with Tao Te Ching, whereby you can get rich and get what you want when you understand and apply the principles in Tao Te Ching. So combine the hexagrams and the wings of text, it is called Zhou Yi. So the correct name is actually Zhou Yi, not Yijing, because Yijing strictly means refers to the trigrams and the hexagrams. However, in our modern day-to-day life, most people will just say Yijing to mean both the text and the diagram. So for simplicity's sake, I will just use the term Yijing. Of course, some of you may like to use the old term called I Ching or just call it Book of Changes. In reality, the Book of Changes is not a good translation. I Ching is the old way of calling Chinese names in English. Today we use Hanyi Pinyin, so they sound the same. So it's Yijing. So when you use Hanyi Pinyin, you're in line with the government and the places in Singapore, Malaysia, they are all using Hanyi Pinyin. So ladies and gentlemen, it is called Zhou Yi, but to make life simple, I'll just call it Yijing. So we know this gentleman, he created Yijing, and today we can benefit from it. And many people told me, my students who have attended my course, they apply at least 1 or 2 concepts. They realize it's much more easier because Yijing is about natural laws. So for example, they don't have to ask people to come back to one Saturday. They don't have to keep on giving monetary incentives, and people are willing to work hard. Automatically, with that, they are better able to plan the future and able to foresee problems and solve the problems before the problems become manifested as symptoms. At the end of the day, Yijing is about reflection, it's about cultivation, it's about building a better me. We learn Yijing is to be a better person. You were able to save time, energy, and money because you have harmony and happiness. Because Yijing is telling you whatever you want is already there. That's why I use the word gua. Gua means hang, and then it simply means we hang it for you to see. So Yijing hang the ba gua for you to see, because most people cannot see their own weaknesses or their own issues. So ba gua, the word gua simply means hang. So means Yijing is hanging for you to see. In other words, there is no magic Yijing. It's just a mirror for you to see. Then how come you cannot see it? Because we are too arrogant, we have too many prejudices. It's just like your friend that know you for 40 years, your primary school or secondary 1 classmate. They know you for more than 40 years. But do they understand, appreciate what you are doing? They don't, right? Because they only see you in the past, and after so many years, it's still in the memory, you are like this, so they don't know that today you are actually very different. Whereas the stranger on Facebook is able to appreciate you and able to see your talents. Because most people can't really see their own weaknesses. Most people can't really see things without a tainted glass, without some prejudice in their mind. So strangers, the people that don't know you, will be the best people to see who you really are. And we say the world is upside down. That's true. And Many times things are bad, but people portray it as good. And when things are good, they make it as bad. We are really living an upside down world. That's why this song is so popular. In 2023, this song is called 罗刹海市. It has more than 31 billion downloads. It is the world's #1 downloaded song. This song is in Chinese. In case you have not heard this song before, let me play a little bit for you to hear. You cannot be ignorant of this song. And bear in mind, this song is using a lot of Yijing concepts and brings it well. Let's short part of it.
落茶果香浓2万6千里呀，国际冲越跳海，3寸的黄泥地，只为那有一条一条河啊，河水流过沟沟营啊，沟沟营当家的茶单换作马虎，十里花长啊，柳昏影啊，他两耳傍肩3空壁，未曾开眼先站定，每一日的磨砺不但来我，老犯罪多半辈啊，以为自己是知己，他马虎不知道他是一头驴，哪有鸟不知道它是一只鸡，狗懒从来扮羔羊，自古公公好为民啊，哎哎呀。
So in case you wonder why is this song so popular, because if you were to listen to the entire song, it's 5.5 minutes, you realize that the lyrics are all talking about our lives in modern day. The world is upside down. And when you know Yijing, you're able to see the world better because Yijing is show you the world upside down. So the world is upside down. So Yijing show you upside down. So in the end, you have the actual world in front of you. You know, you must really admire the brilliance of the creator Fu Si, who actually observed nature and he realized that nature, regardless of what happened, there's always daylight and there's always a night. Regardless of what happened, whether happy, not happy, big or small. So he has to use some kind of communication tools to tell his people, because his people kept asking me, hey, tomorrow shall we go hunting or fishing? Those were the only two things that they do last time, right? Remember, this is 7,000 years ago. So if tomorrow is a good day, he can look at the sky and more or less tell if tomorrow is a good day. Then he'll pick up a stick from the ground and then without breaking a stick, then he called this yang. But what happens if tomorrow is a bad day? Then he will break the stick to two and then call it ing. This is the beginning of Yijing. It's nothing. There is no writing material. There was nothing, no written language. They are just using sticks to tell you what is yin, what is yang. It is that simple. That's the starting of Yijing more than 7,000 years ago. And from here, he tells us there are two things, the yin and the yang. You look at the sun, every time you rise in the east and then you set in the west, right? So the yang is the unbroken line and the yin is the broken line. Simple. The broken lines are of the same length, right? So you can see the yin is stationary, it's not moving, it is hidden. You cannot see, you cannot touch. And it is mostly soft and is usually used to describe the female, whereas yang is the exact opposite. It is hard, it is moving, it is exposed, you can feel, you can touch it. It is hard and it represents the male. So one simple example will be the voice, right? The inner voice is yin. You need to speak it out, then becomes yang, right? Whereas the person always complains is basically yang. The person that can shout is basically yang. The person that will cry is actually yin. So I'm sure you get it, the yin and yang. So leadership is yang because you can see, you can touch, but management is mostly yin because the manager is mostly doing things behind the scene. For example, he's arranging for logistics, arranging for transport. You don't really see in the end, you see the leader standing front, hey, let's go, then you just follow him, right? So leadership is yang, management is yin. And there are other concepts as well. Yin is negative, whereas yang is positive. This is an important concept I want all of us to remember because it starts with the one, right? Then you break the stick into two. That's negative. It starts with the sun rising, the sunset. So yang is positive, yin is negative, and it is bright. So the male is yang and the female is yin. Subconscious, not aware, is yin, and even number is yin, odd number is yang. Some of you will say, Andy, why is it the female is yin, the male is yang? Understand that Yijing reflects nature and everything about Yijing can be verified by yourself. Yijing is science. To tell whether the cat is male or female, you don't look at the face of the cat or the fur. I think we all know about this. It's simple science, right? You open the legs of the cat and you look at it, you realize that the male cat has one sexual organ, whereas the female cat has two. It's that simple, right, ladies and gentlemen? So nothing magical about this. Yang is male, female is yin. Then why is the odd number yang and the even number yin? So simple, yes, to start somewhere else, right? He pick up the stick from the ground. It's unbroken stick, so that's yang, the first stick. Then later, how to get two sticks? There's only one stick. Two person, once you get a stick, you break your two. So that is the even number, right? So it is just the starting of how things will be done in the past. So understand that yin and yang, they are actually opposites, but they are not fighting all the time. They're actually helping each other all the time. They're constantly changing. They are adjectives. They describe something, and they are moving so fast that sometimes when they move so fast, you can't even see that they are moving. You realize that they are not moving at all. Ladies and gentlemen, yin and yang are two very important concepts in Yijing. And many people will claim that they know yin yang, but do you really know yin yang? Let us watch a short video. Maybe you get a better idea. And after that, we'll go into more case studies of yin and yang. But one thing I want all of us to remember is that there's always a yin inside the yang and there's a yang inside the yin. You look at this diagram, the white is the yang and the black is the yin. But realize that inside the white, there's black. Inside the black, there's white. And you can't tell that it's black unless that is white. You can't tell that it's white unless that's black. That's why you realize that the yin cannot live without the yang cannot live without the yin. They both need each other and they complement each other. Of course, there are some hidden meanings of yin and yang. Let's watch this video.
Something can be yin or yang depending on lots of things. So while wheat that's growing is yang, when it's being reaped, it's yin. A wave's crest is yang and the trough is yin. Villages on the sunny side of a valley in China have names like Luoyang or Xiyang. But on the shady side, for example, of the Yangtze River Valley, there's Jiang Yin. The brake is yin to the gas pedal's yang. An eggshell is yang. The egg inside is yin. You think you're getting it? Yang is harder, stronger, brighter, and faster, but one can turn into the other, or are two sides of the same coin. The sunbeams are yang in comparison to the shadows. The pitch is yang, the catch is yin. The yang starts an action and the yin receives it, completes it. Yin is the inside space of a cup. It wouldn't be a cup without it. Yang is the cup. The coffee's heat, however, is yang, and its blackness is yin. Yang goes berserk sometimes, but there's some very powerful yins too, if they don't quite go berserk. Yin is the darker swirl, the female, but there's a white dot in it. And yang is the lighter, the male, but it has a black dot. Water flowing calmly in a river is yin, but when it goes over the waterfall, it's very yang. Toothpicks are yin compared with a telephone pole. The back of a person is more yang than the front. The top of the person is the yang end. Taoism teaches that there is a power in the universe. It's higher, deeper, and truer than any other force. They call it the Tao. It means the way. Like the Force in Star Wars, the Tao has two sides. Unlike other religions where the higher power is all good and perhaps has an all evil rival, Taoism teaches that we need to learn from both yin and yang. And unlike religions with gods that are personal, the higher power in Taoism is not. Taoists believe that living in harmony with the way, a person will not have to fight against the universe's natural flow.
That's right, live with nature, go the natural flow, and that's what yin yang is about. The next video, we are going to look at how can we solve problems with yin and yang, and we're going to look at the top 49 attributes of yin and yang. So let's go to the next video.